We're back. We're doing another Holy Grail, one of my favorites, one of the best breakfast dishes you'll probably come across, Eggs Benedict. So we're doing the Holy Grail of Eggs Benedict two ways. We're doing it the traditional way. You know, most of the time this is what you'll find on most of the brunch menus that you see, and then kind of like an elevated Italian Brendan's way of doing it, which I'm just obsessed with. So I cannot wait to show you. So let's get right into it because I'm hungry. Okay, first thing we're gonna do the traditional one first. So I just have some English muffins here, some Canadian bacon, eggs, lemon, butter, salt and pepper, and cayenne, and that's it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crack open this English muffin. I'm gonna throw a little bit of butter down into my saute pan here, and I'm just gonna get these browning and toasting really nicely because you wanna make sure that your base, like the base for the Eggs Benedict is very sturdy and it's not gonna get super soggy underneath the egg and the Canadian bacon and the hollandaise because then you just have one big mush pile and that's not cute. I'm gonna stick these in there once that butter's melted. Low and slow, kind of let those go, get them really nice and toasted. And we're gonna move on to our hollandaise. The most intimidating part of this dish, but I promise you it's not. All right, so I have my bowl here. And so we're gonna start with it off the heat. So I'm gonna take 4 egg yolks, well 4 eggs, separate out the egg yolks, and we're gonna put the egg yolks into the bowl and separate out our egg whites, and we're not using them here because you wanna get these, you know, you want the hollandaise to be rich, and egg whites add air and aren't rich. So they're voted out of the shell today. So just go in and you're gonna whisk this really vigorously until you incorporate enough air to where the egg yolks almost double in size and it gets really light and like ribbony. So I'll show you what that looks like when you get there. All right, so we're there. Finally, I'm sweating. I don't know what to do with myself, but we made it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. But as you can see, when I lift it up, it's really nice and like thick and ribbony already. A lot of air got incorporated into there, which is exactly what you're looking for before you do anything else, because if you don't get to this point, then your sauce ain't gonna turn out right. So I'm gonna set this aside for right now. We're gonna get started on poaching our eggs, and we gotta take these out of the pan too, because I think they're almost done. Look at that, beauteous. So that's gonna be the base for our Eggs Benedict. And let's get our eggs going. So I have my pot over here. I have this pot about 3/4 of the way filled, but you know the tea. Just make sure there's enough in there. All right, girl? It's not that difficult. So this is just water in here. I'm gonna take a little bit of white vinegar, and what the vinegar does is it helps coagulate the egg whites. So it keeps them all together really nicely, as opposed to when you put it in there and you have like just the egg yolk and then like Spider-Man strings coming off of it. So I'm putting just about a tablespoon in there, and it won't really affect the taste of the egg, so don't worry about it. All right, so I have a little cup here, which is what I'm gonna use to kind of pour my egg into my pot. And one thing you wanna be careful, be very careful cracking these eggs because you don't wanna break the yolk or anything like that, because if you break the yolk, you ain't gonna poach an egg. So be very careful doing that. I'm gonna take my time because I just may or may not have cracked a yolk off camera. And there we go. She looks good, she looks fresh, she looks round and yellow. You wanna let this come up to, not a boil, but a simmer. So if it does come up to a boil, turn that heat off, let the temperature come down, because if you put this in when it's boiling, it's gonna overcook the egg like that, too quickly. So you just wanna simmer like right around like 180, 185. Boiling is 212, so it's a pretty decent ways under boiling. So I'm gonna let this come to temperature, and I will see you when that's ready to go, and we'll get our eggs going. Okay, water is up to temperature. A good way to tell, at least what I do, is when you start to see like all those bubbles start to form around the surface of the pan on the inside, that's when you know that it's about to come up to simmering temperature. And then of course, when it starts to boil, all of those bubbles burst. So I have a slotted spoon here, which is very important because this is what we're gonna use to get the egg out once it's done. But you also need something to kind of create a little bit of a whirlpool looking thing in your pot. So literally all you do is just go in, give it a few stirs. And then you can, look at that girl spin. Look at her spin. So if you want, you can kind of go in and give her a little extra. Or him, I don't know, I'm not here to gender the egg. As you can see I'm doing, I just kind of like to go in every 30 seconds or so and just kind of keep twirling it, making sure that they're moving. All right, that water's good. I'm gonna turn my heat back down a little bit. Our poached eggs are done. I took them out. They look beautiful. I cut off all the little extra bits that are hanging off. A good way to kind of see if it's done is just lift it up on your spoon and push it down a little bit with your finger until you feel just a very slight resistance to it, because you still obviously want the egg yolk to be runny, because that is the money shot, but you want all the egg whites to be cooked as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some slices of Canadian bacon in here. Let those sear up. All right, so these are going. They're getting really nice and hot. I just want to get a pretty decent crust on the other side. Nothing crazy, just like, you know, a quick little sear, that's it. And everything else is ready. So the last thing I have to do is start to do the hollandaise. So I'm gonna use the double boiler method to do that, but I'm gonna wait till these are done just so I can focus fully on the hollandaise. All right, so let's make this hollandaise. So all I have is just the same water I used to poach my eggs. I just had to have going underneath over low heat. Just you want a very little bit of steam coming up to help cook the eggs. And I'm putting my egg yolk and lemon mixture over top to act as a double boiler to cook this hollandaise, to get the hollandaise going. So one thing you want to make sure you're doing, always whisking this, because if your eggs stay in too much contact at the bottom of the bowl, they will start to cook, and I promise you, you can't make hollandaise out of scrambled eggs. That is not a thing. A good way to know when it's done cooking, it'll definitely start to double in size even more than it has, and it'll get even lighter. So that's a good sign to stop, and then we're gonna add in some melted butter. Off to the side here, I have about a stick and a half of butter already melted down, ready to go, and we're gonna incorporate that into the hollandaise when she's ready. All right, so our eggs cooked. As you can see, they're really nice and light in color, which is what you're looking for. It started to thicken up a little bit, which is also another good sign that they're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do now is, as I am whisking my eggs, or my egg mix now at this point, I'm going to slowly stream in my melted butter. So all I did there was just make a cute little holder for the bowl so that it doesn't go crazy. So I'm going to take my hot butter, and as I'm mixing, just slowly stream a little bit in at a time. Make sure it's all incorporated. Keep going. Stop to stir. That's the biggest thing. Make sure it's all, like, do a little bit at a time. Make sure it's all incorporated, and then continue to add a little bit more. And the beautiful thing about this is that this emulsion will hold a ton of fat. So you could keep going with the butter for quite a while before it'll break. All right, so hollandaise is done. All of that butter went in really nicely. You can see she's definitely thick, creamy, hollandaisey, exactly what I want. So all we do at this point, very little bit of pepper, black pepper. You can use white pepper if you want to keep it French. Some salt, some thork. And then just to give it a little bit of kick, I like to use a little bit of chili pepper, cayenne pepper. You could use paprika if you don't want the spice. Just a very little bit in there. And that's all she wrote, girls and boys. All right, so that's hollandaise. Look, done, ready. At the end, I'm gonna chop up some chives and put that in there as well for some color, but I'm gonna wait to do that until we are ready to assemble. So let's get to it. Okay, so now my version of Eggs Benedict. I'm not gonna go walk you through everything we just did because you can see it in what the hell I just made for the other one. So I'm just gonna tell you very quickly. Instead of the English muffins, I'm gonna be using some brioche bread. Same toast that we did last time, just to get it really nice and crispy and brown on the outside. Instead of Canadian bacon, I'm using a mix of some prosciutto di Parma and then some soppressata. I'm gonna crisp those up as well, just like how I did the Canadian bacon. And we're doing poached eggs as normal, and we're gonna use the same hollandaise because I like to keep that part traditional because it's just too good to pass up. right, so we are ready to go. I'm just gonna quickly chop some chives, because chives always look good on eggs Benedict. All right, so let's do traditional first. Start with I'm gonna just do one cute one on this plate. Start with our English muffin. Then, cute little slice of ham right over top. So, egg goes on top. Look it, take a good look, because she looks cute now, but she's about to look even better. So then you take some of your velvety hollandaise right on top. Holy. You want to do enough so that you have enough for everything to get some equal action. And then a little bit of chives. And then I like to hit it with just a quick little, holy crap! I can't stop myself. Okay, number one, we'll come back to that. Number two, brioche. I'm gonna take some of my sopressata. Lay that down. Some of my prosciutto. Lay her down. I'm gonna take another one of my eggs and put her, everything's a her today, I'm sorry. Tomorrow everything will be a he. Put her down right there. Take some more of my hollandaise. Again, right over top. A little bit of chive. And then the kicker, which I've kept a secret from everybody, including Mace, is some everything bagel seasoning. Sounds stupid, and it might be a little stupid, but to me it tastes good. Gives you everything you could want in a hollandaise. So I'm gonna take just a very little bit of that right over top. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. Okay, so here we have two absolutely gorgeous eggs Benedict. On my left, I don't know what that is to you, I have the traditional. Canadian bacon, English muffin, poached egg, hollandaise, chives, paprika, chili pepper, all that. On the right, we have brioche, we have sopressata, we have prosciutto, I have the poached egg, I have a little bit of everything bagel seasoning on top. And let me tell you, both of these are gonna be banging. So, get into it. Let me know how you like it. So, thank you for coming. As always, it's always a ton of fun. I'm so glad I got to do this, number one, because I'm hungry and it's early and I want to eat this. But number two, I've had so many people ask me how to make eggs Benedict. I mean, of course, there's tons of videos online, but you know, I'm here to like show you the old school way of doing it, but also show you that it's not that hard. It's simple. You can do it at your house. So get to it. All right. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, smile, all that. Please, it helps us out a ton. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.